I'm gonna roast a whole chicken, and what I did is you can't take the kid out of his mother's kitchen. So I took the poultry out of the bag, and I just gave it a quick bath. And then I'm going over to my island where I have a couple things. I'm gonna make a seasoned butter, and then I have some onion, carrot, celery, a bay leaf, some rosemary, and also some fennel bulb in there that I'm going to stuff inside the chicken before I decide to roast it. So inside the butter, I'm going to add some rosemary, then some garlic powder. Okay, probably about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, some salt, especially if you're using unsalted butter. If you're using salted butter, then you should be fine, and some pepper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mush this into it. I've washed my hands. The butter is on the inside of underneath the skin of the chicken. And now I have my vegetables. And again, I'm going to season them with what I used inside the butter. So I got salt and pepper. It already has onion. So I'm just going to put a little garlic powder, a little bit of olive oil. Okay, I'm going to give this a mix, and then I'm going to shove it inside my chicken. Oop. Okay. Put it all in there. So this will give it some nice aromatic flavors. Okay, if it doesn't all fit, don't worry about it. Okay. You can always put the rest of it in the bottom of the roasting pan, like I have here. Okay? And then this goes inside the roasting pan. Okay, again, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the top of this. Excuse me. And then I'm going to wash my hands once again. Hands are clean. And now I'm going to season the outside of the chicken with some salt, again, some pepper, a little garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder to make everything nice and tasty. And then this baby is going in the oven. It'll probably take about an hour and a half. An hour to an hour and a half. The oven is set for 350 degrees. So that'll give me lots of time to figure out what I'm going to do for sides, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, it's important that you clean as you go. So I touched a lot of this stuff that my fingers might have been contaminated with chicken or other, well, mostly salmonella. So I'm making sure that I use my Lysol wipes to clean this stuff. Right. Making sure everything is sanitized, including my counter. That should be washed first and then sanitized, which I did. And then last but least, if your hands are clean and your equipment's clean, you need to make sure that you sanitize your phone as well. Okay, so I went through the fridge and I found some butternut squash, because I made some butternut squash soup for a friend last week. So we're gonna make a butternut squash puree. So I'm taking this and I'm just gonna cut it into small cubes. Okay, I'm going to use it all up. Okay, and then it's going to go into a pot. And I'm going to top it up with just enough water to cover. I'm going to throw some salt in there. And I'm going to cook this down because I want this to be, like I said, like a puree, almost like a thinner mashed potato. Okay? So squash is on the stove. A little bit of salt. Put a lid on it. And set it at medium heat to let this come to a boil. Okay, the other thing I found in the fridge was broccoli, and I'm going to use it up today. I'm just going to cut the crowns. I'm not going to cut it into too small pieces, just like into quarters. I got actually quite a bit of broccoli. Which is okay. I have some for the rest of the week. And then these heads I'm just going to cut in half because they're smaller. So you see how, like, this is a little smaller. I'm just going to cut it in half. And then take them to the sink and give them a bath because you just don't know. Now, with the stocks, sometimes people ask, like, what do you do with these? What I do sometimes is I just cut the base off. Okay, and then you can peel this. You get rid of all the tough skin on the outside. Okay, and then you can always cut this up into thicker medallions, and then you can blanch them off with your broccoli. Okay, so the water came to a boil, and I'm going to blanch my broccoli. So this should take probably about, 3 to 5 minutes. My squash is coming to a boil. I'm just going to turn down the heat a little so that it doesn't overflow. And the chicken has been in the oven for about an hour. And we're just going to pull it out to take a look. I wish you could actually smell this. It looks fantastic. And it smells even better. So I'm just rotating the pan, and I'm going to stick it back in there for, like I said, it's going to take it. It's nice and soft. And I'm going to take it to the sink, and I'm going to drain this. Okay. And then what I want to do, like I would do with my mashed potatoes, is I want to dry out as much moisture as possible. So I put it back on the stove. And you can sort of hear it starting to sizzle. And I'm just going to mix this up. Again, difficult with one hand. I'm going to mix this up to try to get as much of the liquid out of there as possible, as much as the water. Because I don't want this to be mushy. So I want to try to keep it to a mashed potato consistency. So I'm drying out the water with just the residual heat that's on the stove. Okay, a little rustic is okay. Grab a spoon. I'm going to give this a good mix, so I'm going to try to put this down. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. Just making sure that it dries out. Okay. To the island, I want to add some butter to this for flavor. A little bit of salt. some pepper, a little garlic powder, a little onion powder. So I'm going to mix this up. If you don't want to use butter, you don't have to. You can use olive oil or coconut oil, whatever works for you. This can be made in advance because the chicken's still not done. And then you can always reheat it when you need it. Because the chicken, once it comes out of the oven, just like the roast I did last week, is going to need to sit. Okay, give it a taste. That's it. Season it to the way you like it. You want it saltier, put more salt. If you want more garlic, put more garlic. All right. And almost about an hour and a half, and you'll see that it's nice and golden. A lot of clear juices. Everything looks cooked. We're just going to stick a thermometer in the thigh, and we want to get it so that it's in the middle area, and it's not touching a bone. And we're looking to get it at 165 degrees, which we are at. We are over that, which is good. So I can turn off the oven, and all we're going to do is I'm going to get a piece of tin foil and I'm going to cover the chicken and let it sit for a good 20 minutes just so that it can rest, and that way when you go to cut it, the juices are not going to leak out. All right, we're going to plate our chicken. Everything seems to be ready to go. We have our veg is nice and hot. So I'm going to take some of the butternut squash puree, sit it almost in the middle of my plate. I have my broccoli. I threw in some carrots that I had in the fridge. So that's sitting nice. Get this out of the way for you to see. And now my chicken is ready to go. And I'm just going to just loosen up the right drum and thigh, and that'll come off very easily. And I can also cut off a breast. So you just find where the back plate is and just let your knife cut down. And this is breasted, so it's beautiful. It's going to be juicy. Okay, I can pick this up and just take off the wing to come with it. Okay, so you can see it. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to grab some of the juice that's in the bottom of the pan and just pour it over top. So you can see how delicious and healthy this really is. That's it. That's our chicken. It's been roasted with our puree underneath. We have our carrots, our broccoli. Delicious. Enjoy. And don't forget, if you actually make any of these dishes, I'd like to see you post them and let's see how they turn out.